Now when evening had come, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself also had become a disciple of Jesus. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given to him. When Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a linen cloth and laid it in his new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. And he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb and departed. Mary Magdalene was there, and the other Mary sitting opposite the tomb. On the next day, which followed, the day of preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together to Pilate, saying, "Sir, we remember that while he was still alive, how that deceiver said, 'After 3 days I will rise.' Therefore command that the tomb be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away and say to the people, 'He is risen from the dead.' So the last deception would be worse than the first." And Pilate said to them, "You have a guard. Go your way, make it as secure as you know how." So they went and made the tomb secure, sealing the stone and setting the guard. And so begins the events of Holy Saturday, the day in which Jesus lay in the tomb, dead. And to the disciples, I'm sure it must have seemed over. It must have seemed dark. And in the years since then, particularly in German countries, their Germanic countries, there has arisen a tradition called the Easter fires. And I think it's not too dissimilar to the tradition of the Yule log that happens during the holidays, that during that darkest time of the year, close to the winter solstice, when it was literally the darkest time of the year, they would light fires, big, huge, blazing bonfires, to say that the darkness has not won and the light is not extinguished. Of course, those grew out of pagan traditions and, of course, were adopted by Christians for the Christmas celebration. But this similar tradition has arisen around Easter, well, more specifically, between Good Friday and Easter morning, so on Saturday, where a large bonfire would be lit and an Easter vigil would be held. It seems to me to be a kind of a reminder that even when things seem to be at their darkest, even when Jesus was laying in the tomb, dead, that hope was not lost. To the disciples, it might have seemed like hope was lost, but the truth was God's plan was still fully in force, fully in motion. It's interesting, not too far from here in Fredericksburg, Texas, there's an Easter fire tradition there as well. And, no surprise, it's a historically German community to a large extent, not exclusively German. But those Easter fire traditions actually grew up after the local white settlers in that area had hatched out a peace treaty with the local natives, the Comanches. And in order to commemorate that treaty, the Comanches had lit fires on the hills around Fredericksburg. And one little girl in the white settlement saw that and was very concerned. She was frightened by the fires, and she asked her mother what was going on. And her mother said, "Oh, honey, that's just the Easter bunny boiling water to dye the eggs." And so grew the Easter fire tradition of Fredericksburg, or so I'm told. This is not an Easter fire by any stretch of the imagination. But sometimes it's nice to light a fire in the midst of the darkness as a reminder that hope is not lost, that light has not been conquered, and that darkness has not won. So today, on Holy Saturday, I pray that you will see the light in the darkness, and when things get dark in your life, remember, God's plan is still in motion. He hasn't forgotten about you. and resurrection is coming. God bless you, and good night.
How can your light be what I fear? If it's the proof that you are here.